What's up, guys? Here is another Teach Me Tuesday. If you are interested in real estate investing, this is the episode for you because we have an amazing guest. But before we get to the guest, I want to introduce Gavin and LaShawn. Y'all go ahead and tell them about yourself, Gavin and LaShawn.
Yeah, so I am LaShawn Abraham. I am the sales manager in our Somerville, South Carolina location at Gill Mortgage. I am a mortgage loan officer. We're definitely proud to serve the entire state of South Carolina, and we're also licensed in Georgia as well.
Yep, Gavin Abraham, mortgage loan officer, Somerville, South Carolina, and all of South Carolina and Georgia. Guys, just happy to be here. Another Teach Me Tuesday, and excited for the conversation we're gonna have with our special guest today.
So before I'm gonna let him speak, I gotta say something about this guy. First of all, this is my mentor, Mr. Clarence Graham from Birmingham, Alabama. I mean, I can't say enough positive things about this guy. He's a family guy, husband. I mean, and also a hustler. So I really admire this guy. That's why he's my mentor. He's gonna really go into some real estate investing, give you some tools, man, give you some information. And I just want to allow him to just introduce himself right now, Mr. Clarence Graham.
Well, thank you, man, and I definitely appreciate you and the introduction. Glad to be here with both of y'all, Abraham. So excited to be here, man. I love this topic. I think it's important. And Will might know he's also my guy. We spend a lot of time together talking, and I'm just so proud of where he's come from and where he's grown. So, man, keep it up. He's investing. I don't know if he's telling people that he's invested. He's investing. He's helped investors. He's closed on multifamily transactions. So he's very familiar with a lot of things that we'll kind of talk about today. So we want to. I'm excited to be here again. Like you said, I'm married. Me and my wife we work together. We have a traditional real estate team here in Birmingham, Alabama, called the Graham Group Real Estate Team. We're brokered with EXP Realty. We do traditional house sales, but how I got into this business was through real estate investing, and so I'm excited to really talk about this topic. I believe everyone should own a piece of America, not only through your home, and we'll talk about that because a myth is taught to a lot of people that your home is an asset, which it is to an extent, depending on what you do with the equity in that property, right? So other than that, as you are using it for living expenses, it's really a liability to you the majority of the time that you're occupying it as your primary resident, not using it as a vehicle for real estate investing. So again, just to give a disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an accountant, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a friend giving you information on how I invest in real estate and what we do. So
Awesome.
I
Awesome.
love it. I love it. That's great.
Go ahead, LaShawn. I didn't know if you had something to say.
No, I would say that was really, really good. I mean, right now in today's market, I mean, as you know, people are just, kind of on the fence when it comes to real estate because rates have rose a lot. I don't know how the market is there because you're in Alabama, right?
right.
Birmingham.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm thinking just all of the Southeast and even probably Midwest as well. The inventory is very low. Which is causing a very high demand. And what we're seeing is that a lot of people are just on the fence. They maybe want, to invest in real estate, but they're scared.
Mhm.
They're thinking about, just either all the upfront costs and things like that. So today we're definitely wanting to kind of, pick your brain on just your approach, your mindset when it comes to owning real estate, investing in real estate, and how people can truly get started.
Excited. Well, let's go. I'm excited about this. So
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, just to dive right in. So I'll tell you what, Clarence, tell us first your from day one. What was it that influenced you to jump into investing in the real estate?
I was actually working in banking and finance. I thought I wanted to be a financial advisor. And so I was taking that approach through getting my license. I actually had my license to do like fixed income annuities. And I wanted to teach educational courses on like how to help people, manage money and invest in like stock market stuff, right? So a friend of mine was
Wow.
he was like, man, why don't you come to this seminar with me? And so I went to the seminar and this guy named Russ Whitney, this is old infomercial style, like the Carlton sheets. I bought all that stuff, but he was teaching you about how you could take houses that are in a condition, do improvements, and raise the value and resell them. And so the concept was very simple to me. I was like, I can do that. I understand that. Not understanding more the meat and potato we'll talk about a little bit here, But in that simplicity, I was like, that's the light bulb went off for me. I didn't have the money to buy that class that day. So what I did, I did what I could do as far as like what I could afford at that point in time. And I started driving around trying to buy like tax liens and tax deeds and what have you, right? And so this is true story. Me and my fast forward, so that goes on a couple years. And me and my wife, we've been together 23 years this year, right?
Woohoo.
Congratulations, brother.
And she was in college and she said, so she was like, what are you doing? Like, I'm like, I'm investing in real estate. She said, you ain't bought no property yet. And it lit a fire on me. And so I ended up buying a property probably within 30 days of that day. And I use it as my primary residence. And so we're going to talk about that because that's I think a tool a lot of people miss. My first purchase, I use as an investment property. My second purchase, I use as an investment property, meaning I bought a house that needed work. I lived in one room out of one dresser, one bed. I didn't unpack the dishes and literally started renovating the house and lived in it as I renovated that house. And when I finished, we sold it. Well, I sold that house because I wasn't married then, sold that house and received a large lump of cash. And I rolled it to another property and we continue to do that, you know, and that's how I really got started. But prior to even having the money, I began to invest in my education on how to do this. I would drive the market. I would look at empty houses. I would go down to the courthouse and try to find the owners. Like this is before all the technology was out, right? This is before you had apps. You can do that. You had to really physically drive and catch grass growing, overgrown, and houses looking, you know, abandoned to try to reach out to the seller and make an offer and see can you get creative to buy it. So
that's really, really good. I mean, that's some really good stuff. So let me think about this, right? So because sometimes you have people like, what if they're like, hey, you know, I'm not that handy. I don't know if I could do this work. So what do you suggest to those type of individuals who might see, you know, an abandoned property or a house that needs a lot of work and they're like, man, like how much is it going to cost me to like fix this up in order for me to try to flip it for it to be a profitable thing?
So several different ways you can look at it. So one, you guys know you can do a 2 or 3K renovation loan or 2 or 3B, right? So, but you have to be willing to go in areas sometimes that you may not want to primarily like make this your first home. It's okay. Remember, you have a strategy. There's an end goal here. We want to begin with the end in mind. So use creative type of financing if you have the ability. Let's say you don't have the credit. I always believe in strong, and this is again, no advice because you have to find the right people. But if you have the credit but not the cash, they have the cash, not the credit, and we can come together and balance each other out. So I always believe in that. You could also find a contractor who's willing to do the work for you on the front end and get paid on the back end if they're going to be a partner with you because they know how to do the work. So there's always opportunities and answers inside of you if you're willing to think in a solution base, not a I can't or this is no way I can do this. It's like, how can I? If it was possible, how could I? If you really spend time with yourself, an answer will show up and you will find creative ways to make this work. I give an example of this when I tell people teaching purposes only. If you had a very close friend you love and they needed $5,000 within 30 days and you didn't have the money, and if they didn't get that money, you would never see them again. I guarantee within 30 days, you'll find a way to have that $5,000. You have to create it that way. You have to be hungry. This is not a get rich quick scheme. It's about real passion of wealth building. And you have to be committed to that. And that's taking small increment steps. So that first one, you may not make $40,000 like the commercials say.
Yeah.
You may make 10. You may make 7. You may make 8. I'm not saying take that strategy. But my point is you're going to take that money and continue to reinvest and allow the money to be akin to compound. So that's what you have to do. Keep turning.
That's some good stuff right there.
Man, I hope they got their pencils out over there, man.
Right, yeah, because you know, I'm taking my notes. I'm taking my notes too, because I mean, you just said something that just kind of made as simplistic as it was, the full circle of being able to connect with maybe someone who can fix, who is a contractor, who's willing to have the same vision, partner with you, and do the work on the front end to eliminate, like, you know, that just eliminates the worry of how am I going to get this from, you know, unlivable or from not being able to resell it to now to have someone who comes in and does all the legwork, all the work, and have that either contractual agreement or just understanding that, hey, you're going to get yours on the back end because we have the same vision, same understanding,
Right.
and we're in business together. Yeah.
And I will add to this too, be very smart about the first project you take too. So if you're limited with resources, don't take on a massive project that's going to be 80 grand in renovations. Let's try to find something more: carpet, paint the cabinets, put some countertops in, replace the carpet, put down some hardwood floors. Don't take, I got to redo the whole deck, I'm going to extend another bedroom, I'm going to do all these extra things. That may not be a project for you right now to do something of that capacity. And I'm not saying it's impossible. I believe it's still possible, but I'm just saying, to get your training wheels, what you want to do is you want to be like, everybody wants to talk about David and Goliath, but prior to that, David fought a bear.
Yeah.
David fought a lion. Then he got to Goliath. There's a progression here. And so what we got to do is don't try to bite off too much up front, trying to get aggressive and lose money where you can be smart and be able to learn to build up. And then on that third or fourth project, you're ready.
That's good. That's a good lesson right there, because I think, we watch TV, man. We watch HGTV. We see how those guys do it on, Joanna Gaines and Flip and Flop, and they making these massive profits, but they didn't start there. You know what I'm saying? They probably didn't start. Yeah, I know they didn't start there, but like, I think a lot of times we see that and we're like, man, I can do that. You know what I'm saying? And you said one thing, Clarence, and I want to, talk about that a little bit, is, hey, get some education, right?
Oh, yeah.
Don't just jump into this thing and just think that, hey, I can figure it out. No, go ahead and pay that money first, right? Pay that money first, get some education, but then actually apply it. So
absolutely. And also sometimes education is partnering with someone who's already doing it, and you're more in an apprentice role, right? So that may be like, I'll try to strip it down. You don't even have the money to pay for the education, which we know we got YouTube and all this stuff, right? But it's somebody in your neighborhood that's doing something you desire to do, that you say, listen, I'll come put a paint bucket in my hand. I'll come wash your car. I'll come hang out with you at your place. You got to humble yourself. You know what I'm saying? This is a long-term game. And that was something else I was going to add. One of the things that we began to buy real estate, we didn't go out and buy a flashy car. You know what I'm saying? We first started out, we kept used cars. We had them paid off. We didn't go out a lot and travel at that point in time. We were taking cash and really reinvesting it. We were taking earned income. And this is what I want to talk to you about. Taking your earned income, right? And being lean as possible. Don't go out to eat. Don't be traveling right now. It's cool. Trust me. It's going to feel uncomfortable about 2 years. But you take all that surplus dollar amount that you need and you put that back into an investment and allow your money to work for you. Too many people take the very bucks that can free them from a job, and they go and give it away to consumer, right? You buying stuff. You spending away your future. And so what you have to do, buy toys with the real estate investment money. Don't buy toys with your hard-earned money. Because once you spend it, you got to keep working to earn it. So, but if you go out and say, I want to buy a new Maserati, it's going to cost $800 a month. I ain't saying just do it for this reason, but I'm just giving you an example. Then go buy enough real estate that pay you a cash flow of $1,000 a month and let the Maserati be paid through that cash flow, but not through your job.
That's some good stuff. That is some good stuff. I love it. I absolutely love it. So we're going to ask a couple questions just because I don't want, I feel like time is already flying by and you already gave some really great jewels. So thinking about what you're saying, because a lot of times people fear is it's debilitating, right? And so a lot of times people are scared to like jump in because, real talk, people don't trust people. They're thinking that, especially if they don't know what they're doing, they're not knowledgeable, so they don't feel confident in making those types of choices and decisions. So what do you say? How do you manage your risk? When you got started, like you said, I know you said don't bite off too much, your first go round, but how would somebody else who wants to get started, but also is very fearful, how would they kind of manage, the risk in making those decisions on how they should, start investing?
Well, one thing that I do believe is make sure that you do have some capital saved, and again, not saying that you have to wait till you have all the money. And when I'm saying capital, we understand that if I'm buying a property right now, let's say for $60,000, I know that's a tough property right now, but I'm just giving an example. And we're doing an FHA loan at 3.5% down. and you can swing a $700 a month note, then that needs to be something manageable that you have at least, let's say, $2,800 in cash put back for the payments, right? You also manage it where you are very conservative. So I think a lot of times people get in and saying, well, I know they're saying houses selling over here for 150, but I think I can push 160 out of it. But if I don't get 160, it's not going to work. See, when I go into deals, let's say I plan on selling it for 160, I go in. See, money in real estate is made when you buy and really not when you sell. So people tend to think like, okay, when I sell it, it's going to work, or the market increases by this percentage. If it doesn't make sense today, the growth is icing on the cake. I negotiate based on what it makes sense right now if I had to dump it. So if I'm paying 60 for it, it better be worth 75, 80 if I had to dump it right now. Like I'm just giving an example. So if I'm buying it for 60, I want to sell it for 150, I'm doing my numbers on $130,000. Like that's what I'm doing, my after repair value. And I'm running my numbers. If I had to sell it at 135, could I get out of here and still make some money? Even though I'm listed for 160, I'm listed for 155. So that's how you kind of managing that risk. Be smart and patient on the acquisition or the purchase side, because that's what people tend to get excited. They want it. They're going in as highs and best, and you end up paying too much because you're gonna have some things come up through that process through renovation. Something may happen. I had a squatter in one. We did a renovation. I had squatters coming in. I had to get them out. I had to lock the door up. They broke in, So you have to understand those things can come up during the process. Fear is natural, right? But it's also afraid of a corporation walking in the door one day telling you don't work here no more. It's also a fear of you not being able to live your best life and send your kids to the best schools in the world you want to, if that's your desire. So which one you fear more? So it's like you have to start having these real conversations with yourself and choose your fear. You rather be fearful going that route than fearful of not having enough.
That's some good stuff. You preaching. You are preaching. Because a lot of honestly, what I'm hearing, like even based on everything that you're saying, it's mindset. You know what I mean? Like you have to have the mindset to, like you said, be hungry. Like you want it no matter what. Even if there's fear, even if you don't have all the information, the knowledge, but you still have the mindset, you have the discipline, you make the relationships with people so that you can continue to press forward versus getting in your head and talking yourself out and then staying stagnant for the rest of your life.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. So I got another good one. So when it comes to like the investments that you make, how do you choose where you're going to invest? Is there like, how do you know what locations or what areas?
Like the hood or by the water?
So everybody has their different strategies, right? By law, I can't really say what's a hood and can't as a licensed professional, right? But I'm saying, so there's some areas that may have, I don't like areas where there's a lot of maintenance, where you have to maintain a lot, like as far as, let me say it like this. This is how I choose. I like up and coming areas. So I like where we're seeing some growth happening, right? I like to purchase properties, what we call them add value properties. Okay, and I'll explain what that is. You can Google it. But basically what an add value property is, if you've ever lived in an apartment where you had an apartment and it looked like 1985 in it, all of a sudden you get a letter saying your rent is going to go up $100 next month. It's been bought by a new person. That new person is going to come in and add value. They're going to open the pool back up. They're going to improve the playground. They're going to paint the complex. They're going to add shutters to the complex. They're going to update the kitchens, put in new ceiling fans and new lights. Now the rent has to go up $200 per month. So what I look for, because we're talking cash flow through apartment acquisition, I look for mismanaged apartment complex or under improved apartment complexes. And not even saying mismanaged, they could have done a really good job managing and keeping it clean and maintained, but they never improved it, right? So people are going to pay lower rent. And so my objective and strategy is to go in and improve. Now, when I'm looking for flipping, when we're buying properties to flip, I like areas that the majority of the middle of the road will like, right? The bread and butter. That's that 200, at 150 to about 275 range of housing when it's finished, after it's repaired, right? So that's when we're looking from that type of strategy. So again, I like where people want to be, the majority of the people want to be. if that makes sense.
Exactly.
You don't
No,
have to
That's
go to the
good.
high-end luxury, and everybody different. Guess what? And the cool thing about investing, strategy changes as you grow. There's going to be a place, I'm sure, at some point where I'm like, I don't buy nothing but Class A building, where rent $2,200 a month. That's all I'm buying, right?
Mhm.
So it's just where you are, what you have access to capital to do, but understand the risk involved with each and every process. So, like, for an example, if you're going to go into where you're going to do what I'm saying, more affordable living, let's say, like, you're looking at that strategy, right?
Mhm.
You have to understand the risk involved of security, things getting broken into, right? You have to you have to manage those things and understand that risk assessment, right? But when you're on the high end side, you have to understand how much more that's going to cost and how much less cash flow you may have, but higher upswing on the selling because of it's going to appreciate quicker. So you just have to understand where you are and your strategy and where you are with what you want to do as the investor. You have to really know a plan when you're investing of where you are and what you want to do right now. Because some people want capital accumulation, meaning they want to sell properties and flip. Well, risk assessment on that is you have to have some cash. It's going to be high tax, right?
Mhm.
So that's a flip. Well, if you like, I want to really build cash flow and have a residual coming in, that's a whole nother strategy for that. So, which I like. That's the strategy I like. Like, honestly, I think that's the best strategy. I'm not saying you shouldn't flip, but
Mhm.
cash flow. That's why I wore my shirt today.
Yeah.
That's why I wore my shirt. It's cash flow, and that's real. Cash flow is the key to what you would like to do when you invest in real estate. It brings the tax benefits, and I'm not gonna get too far into that, but I know it's a long answer. I'm sorry, but that's the answer.
No. That's good stuff, man. Hey, I appreciate you breaking it down, going in depth. We need that. Our viewers need that so that they can grab whatever it is that sticks out to them.
Right.
And trust me, it draws everybody in because, man, you got just talking with you. My
Let's
brain
go,
is spinning
Gavin.
right now. It's
Let's
running.
buy one. Come on, let's buy
I'm
one.
ready. Yeah, I'm ready to go out there. I'm about to kick the door open and go put my off in, baby.
Let's go. It's possible, man. And
Oh, yeah.
like Mrs. Abraham said, I love, like you said, the mindset. And I know people always talk about that, but I want to dive into that a little bit. I'm saying you really have to have a willingness, to serve people.
Mhm.
So you got to have a heart of like, why are you doing this? And so ours is to improve communities, right? So you have to really understand what drives you. It's going to be money, right? I'm not saying that you won't make money and those things come, but if you serve, the money is a byproduct of the serving you give. And so it's always seed time and harvest, right? Seed time, harvest. People always talk about it in the money area, but it's also in time you give, love you give, like, right?
Mhm.
So you have to really have a passion for why you are doing this, not just the money. I think with your mindset too, you have to have a big, like, no matter what happens, I'm going to figure this out. This will work.
Right.
You have to have a belief in your gut. This will work. The second part, yes, you're going to make mistakes, but you will not fail. You have to be committed. Even though you're going to make mistakes, you may have investments that don't go as planned. You have to continue to move because this will work. I'm not going to stop. And you have to know at the end of the day what number that you desire as a rate of return that's important for you through each acquisition or purchase and sale that you do. So again, that's just some of the mindset, but you gotta have that mindset of winning, man. Even when it looks like you're losing, you still winning because there's a lesson learned, right? You have to take that on. Just don't repeat that mistake.
It's so good. That is so good. That is so good. So good. So when
Now
is there
you see
anything you
why.
wanted to add to that?
Yeah, LaShawn, sorry because you see why like I talk so highly of this guy, man. He inspires you so much,
I love
right?
this stuff.
So just from talking to him, that energy he gives, man,
Yeah.
like you can tell like he's really doing this stuff, and that's one of the things I admire about him. But yeah, you touched on this before, Clarence, about looking at the big lump sums that you make from a flip versus the cash flow,
Mhm.
right? I've heard something. I don't want to say it was a quote, but it was more so like the guy was like, "Hey, if I stop working today,
Hmm.
right,
Mhm.
my wealth is determined by how much income comes in."
Or how much I can
So,
live on with
like,
what I got.
Mhm.
exactly. So can I stop today and continue to live, You know, it will things stop going? Will I still be able to live and do my daily stuff if I stop working today? But that's what cash flow, that's how cash flow is so important, because man, if you can create those different streams of cash flow, like you're talking about, in this instance through real estate, man, you could really, like, you know, build something massive and also still be able to create wealth and live on by creating cash flow, like what you just
and
said.
and legacy, and legacy,
Exactly.
and your children and grandchildren can continue to eat if properly transitioned well. So it's a land of a foundation for many generations to have access to. And that's the beauty of, I think, real estate cash flow and holding real estate or trading up where you're selling something and going up. And I want to add something too. What you were saying about cash. You have to realize too, and all of us can probably relate to this. A lot of people, and I'm not. You should have cash on demand. Like let's say you have $10,000 a month. You should have 60 grand cash sitting in the bank where you can, like, don't spend over that. I'm just using an example. Now you can pull in and pull out, move around. I wouldn't let it go to zero. You know, any of you like, okay, I'm in a deal. I got 30 still in cash. I need to use that 30 because I got to do this deal, but I'm gonna put it back, right? But my thing I'm saying is, when you sitting on large lumps of cash, see, cash is a currency. That means it's gonna move. You started eating on that little cash here and there. If you don't do something with it, you will eat on that cash. So cash you will begin to eat on. But if you have cash flow, it could replenish itself. Even if you eat off of it, it'll replenish itself. That's why you have NFL players and guys like that go broke, because that lump of money they receive, they begin to eat off of it, right? You get hurt, no more money. But if they took that original lump they earned, put that big lump, and it paid $40,000 a month, even if they ain't paying the league no more, they'll have $40,000 a month coming in for the rest of their life. And they eat on that 40. Next month, another 40 gonna come. So quick as you can, outside of what you need to live on for 6 months or 3 months, something to secure yourself. You gotta have cash if your target's flat. You can't go crazy and bet everything. I'm not saying that by no means, and I'm not giving any financial advice. But once you have a certain amount of cash, get it out of your hands and do something with it, because you may do the wrong thing with it.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's great advice.
So so on that same topic of just so does a person need to have a minimum amount of money to start investing? Can someone invest with no money?
No money, no credit. I'm not kidding. So I love this. So and again, this is a whole class in itself. I'm gonna try to be as quick. And this is not the stuff you see on YouTube. I'm not saying anything like the Instagram. The stuff they do tell you, this stuff is real. So like, really, I literally bought 4 houses with no money out of the pocket. Now, did money have to come up? I had to come up with money to renovate, and then we'll talk about that some. But the people literally signed the houses over to us. You have to realize, for some people, when you're dealing with real estate, money is not always the motivating factor. There's situations where I've been a rental management company for many years. I'm tired of this stuff. I'm at this age. I don't want to deal with it no more. Somebody just take this stuff. I don't want to fix nothing. Like, we just bought some units where the couple had been managing these properties for many years, and they were just tired. They said we could never go out of town and not have to have somebody call about something, right? And so they didn't have the cash to improve the building anymore, and they said it's just time for us to get out. And so we acquired a package from them of properties, and we're improving them, and we're increasing rent. And we walked in, and I'll tell you a quick little strategy too. Anytime you buy a multifamily, close about 3 days before the first of the next month. So we always close at the end of the month, like the 27th. So on the first, who get all the rent?
You do.
I'm the new owner.
That's
I
right.
ain't even make no mortgage payment because my mortgage payment ain't due to the next month.
That's right.
So I walk in day one with cash flow off the bat. So, but
That's
yeah,
good stuff.
you could do that. You could do wholesaling, what you hear a lot of. I'm not gonna kid you. That's real though. You can find somebody who's willing to say, hey, I don't have the cash, but I want to buy a property. I know your grandmother had this property and y'all don't want it no more. It's empty, right? I'll give you 25 for it. You sign it. And you can literally find somebody who'll give you 27 for it, 28 for it. You make the 3, you never even owned it. Simon takes close on the same day. And again, I'll give Wilmot a link. We're going to be doing some classes. And this ain't a push for a class. I'm just telling you the truth. Like this, you would have to understand some more in depth of writing the contract, putting down earnest money, how that goes, right? So you can put up $50 earnest money, you can put $100 earnest money up. So even if the deal didn't go through, you lost $100, right? So I'm not just saying $100 ain't worth nothing, but it's not like you got to put $12,000 up front. You can get acquisition and access to real estate literally with no money down, no credit. And there is a whole world of guys and women, guys, and I'm saying guys generally, like guys and girls, I'm saying. There's a whole world of people who have the cash who want to buy that property. They just don't know it exists. And so one of the things you start to do right now is build you a list of investors who are looking to buy properties like that. So when you find a property, you pop it up to them through an email, somebody gonna buy it. This happens every day.
Yep.
Every day. We've done owner, and I'm telling you, all the stuff we've done owner financing, where we literally gave the owner $2,000 down and made monthly payments to them. We've done lease purchase. We've done sale lease backs. I mean, you name it. I'm kidding to you. I've wholesale properties where I bought them. That's why I was on this call. This guy right now finna call me on one that's a wholesale right now. That I'm just gonna I'm selling it on him. You know, I bought it. I was gonna really fix it up, but I don't have time to get to it. It's a single family. He want to buy it, and we're gonna sell it over to him. And I'm gonna get the list.
So I know we about to kind of close out, but
oh man, we just trying to have fun.
I know,
right? So you giving so much value, so many nuggets. But Clarence, you said you sent me this link, and I'm gonna put it in the on our social media so we can promote it. You're teaching a class. This is not something you just do, but you're gonna also educate people as well. So can you talk more about the event and what that's about, Clarence?
Well, that's just it. I hadn't so we did one recently where we did a 6-week class where we took people literally where I could dive into showing you how to run your numbers, how to look at properties. We actually brought them out to a property, and that class got to see us in the middle of renovating a multifamily property. We showed them how to work with contractors, how to have the contractors, like the agreement that you need to have, how to negotiate with contractors. We go through the whole process of if you wanted to buy a property from day one to the end, we go into in depth on like, how do you do that? So, but yeah, so that's in a sense what it is. And I can spend more time and slow down and kind of like really explain and answer questions as you're doing this. It's a great business, man. Like it's not hard. People really think, it's just like, learning something new. It's all it is. You have to be willing. You got to put down your phone. You got to get off social media for a couple of nights. You got to stop letting things distract you, man. This your real life. You have to be committed to this. And that's what I'm saying. Social media and other TV shows, that they're getting their money. They're working on their wealth strategy plan, right? But you allowing them to control your narrative. You got to take control of your life and say, hey, I deserve better. It's something I got to do for me and my family. I got to take that Instagram off my phone. I'm spending too much time. I could be learning something. And so if you get uncomfortable for a short period of time, you'll be comfortable for a long time. So
preach.
Gosh, that is so good. So good.
We got some more questions. I thought we had some more questions.
We did, but I feel like we I know we're a little over 30 minutes and we try not to keep
but this was so good. Clarence, we're gonna be respectful of your time as well as our viewers or whatever, but we definitely gonna have you back, brother.
Okay.
Oh man, we gotta bring him back if he's willing to come.
For you, Wilmot, you know that up top.
My man.
Well,
gotcha.
Guys, again, for our viewers out there, we can definitely link you with Clarence. We're gonna have the link in our social media to sign up for his what's the title of it? It's the workshop or.
Well, what we're gonna do, we have two different ones. So I have one that's just an intro into real estate investing, so you can understand what's a wholesale, like what's a flip. So many people talk in language that people don't understand. So I like to really make it simple. I don't want to sound all, you got to move to ARB and do come on, nobody understands that. We need to make it understandable so people can apply it. So we want to be able to explain the terminology to you, so, and then we have another one that's more in depth. That's the one I was talking about. That's a real deal. Like that's a class. You going to school. You're going to buy a piece of property. We already got, seriously, I can show you multiple students were buying properties within 60 days after the class, multifamily.
Wow.
That's our thing. Yeah, that's our thing. We really focus on the multifamily piece. And the reason I say that too, just real quick, and Gavin, both you and LaShawn, you know this, like 4 units and smaller, you can still, if you don't have a primary residence, you can use a regular traditional loan. That's less money out of pocket, as long as you occupy one of the spaces, right? And so it's like learning some of the tools and mortgage products that are available to you. Then if we have to, and I'm not a credit repair person, but yeah, some stuff you're gonna have to get your credit right. That's just the truth. You can't say, well, I just want strategy, so I don't have to use no credit. Yeah, that's cool for now, but you got to be committed to fix your credit.
Yeah,
you got to start paying these folks. You can't get big deals without paying with good credit. I'm just gonna be, once you get into these multi-million-dollar transactions, I'm not saying you can't. You just gonna have to have somebody else's name on it. But I'm just saying, if you trying to be on the deal, you better have a lot of cash then to override your credit.
That's right.
You know at some point, you got to fix it. You know, so we go into a lot of that stuff. So
okay. Well, guys, nothing in life you're just gonna pull from YouTube by itself,
right?
Or pull from a one-time conversation from a friend or somebody that's walking by telling you something. No, man, you got to make the investment. You have to take the time and go after the information that's available to you. And Clarence is as you can tell, he's passionate about this. Yeah, he has a track record of doing it. And guys, we want you to partner with him. I'm getting ready to partner with him. So we're gonna keep this thing rolling. But again, another great Teach Me Tuesday, guys. You got all of our contact information on our social medias. I mean, if we can answer any questions, we can further answer any questions or give you any more information about what we talked about today. We definitely are more than happy to do so. But until next Tuesday, it's been a good one.
Thank y'all so much for having me.
Thank you again, Clarence. Thank you.
Thank y'all. I appreciate it. I really enjoyed it. Thank you, Wilmot, for inviting me, man. I appreciate y'all.
Man, no problem, brother.
All right.
All right, let's go buy something now.
Yeah.
Later.